Episode 10, Father's Day Interlude. Hey everyone. So, this is kind of like a special episode where I have zero notes in front of me and it's a monologue episode. I wanted to do this because I just last evening got done streaming for 9 hours from 6 p.m. to 3 a.m. The last 3 hours probably should not have happened. But when the room was bumping, when sales were being made, fun was being had, I think I am one of those folks who, and certainly earlier in my life, where when you're having fun, you just keep going. The fun don't stop until the lights come on and the tabs have to be closed. But yeah, I just wanted to do this because almost in a way for me to capture this moment for myself for the podcast and I guess to share it with all of you. So I had some notes written down a while ago and I was going to do this whole chapter on streaming more structured. But again, this is almost like a diary entry, I guess. On YouTube they got vloggers who talk about their experiences, which comes from the word vlog, I guess this is an audio log, so a log, I don't know. But man, uh, it is the morning after, and I was going to get everything ready for shipping, but it seems like the mail flow wouldn't even hit until Tuesday. And why do I say Tuesday? Because it is a 3-day weekend. Yes, I want to do evergreen content, but again, like a diary entry, it's June 17th, 10 a.m. Tomorrow's Father's Day. Monday's Juneteenth. It's a 3-day weekend. It's a Father's Day weekend. And maybe that's why I kind of, made this special ask to my wife. Can I stream for a really long time tonight? And maybe even do it today, this evening, depending how I feel and all that. But I this is part of my cardboard journey. I streamed early on and whatnot. When I first came back, I got approved to be a seller. Probably should not have been approved. I had some inventory. I bought some boxes, cases on the secondary market, and I did it myself. And it was tough, but it was fun. And I definitely made some sales. Didn't you know, I did more than break even, but it wasn't like glamorous by any means, and it was just me. I was doing all the pre, the during, and the post. Then I stopped for a while, and then I was afforded the opportunity to this time join a stream team, and it was to be on Drip. And I'm gonna get into more details maybe at a future time, but again, this is just for me to kind of get my thoughts out, stream of consciousness. So, and who knows if I even end up publishing it. But I might because I think content shares in general, we like to overshare. So the reason I wanted to come back was it was fun. It's me not buying into breaks. If I'm selling my own breaks, then I'm not buying into other people's breaks. It's almost like content. I know a lot of content creators, and I think a fair amount of fellow podcasters listen to this podcast. But it's almost like when you're so busy creating your own content, you don't really have time to consume other people's content. Although I definitely try to, because again, I love learning, I love engaging and interacting. But when it comes to the breaks, I would find myself kind of like, I guess, like weirdly nostalgic. I mean, it was only like 5 months ago when I last streamed, but I was like, I want to do that again. So I joined a stream team, and again, I'll get into details of that more later. But the reason I wanted to join a stream team instead of doing it myself was because I wanted to have that built-in audience. It's almost like I didn't want to start from zero again. And I know we all start from zero, but I wanted to join a stream team one, to also accelerate my growth, right? Like I wanted to learn more. I didn't want to just like do it myself and just fumble along. I wanted to like learn from my, stream team colleagues and a stream boss, so to speak. But I didn't want to do it in a way where it was like I was getting paid. And you might be asking, well, why would you do it if you're not getting paid? Um, Makes sense. It's not volunteer, I'll say that. But how do I put it? Um, the time I stream, and then of course there's that time with shipping and packing. The arrangement is just that I get to accrue some wax credit, almost like if you're at a LCS and you trade in your slabs to get, instead of getting paid cash, to get paid out in terms of like store credit. I thought maybe that's a great way for me to scratch my wax itch, although I don't really have like a huge wax itch. I have that very much under control. Even the small amount of wax that I've bought with my wax credit in the past 3 weeks, I haven't even opened up the wax because I want my kids to open up the wax, and I'm just saving up, and I'm also finding I'm waiting for the right product and all that. So anyway, um, join a stream team, get to learn from other streamers, get the support of each. I support them, they support me. We all learn from the boss. Great thing about being part of a bigger stream company is that they get allocation and they're able to mark things, and they can absorb the losses and also get the benefits, right? I mean, it's the risk reward is with the stream company. So um I haven't done these monologue episodes in a while. I feel almost out of breath again. I'm gonna stop it now. I forgot how weirdly, when it comes to monologue episodes, I like lean over more than I do with like a guest episode, and I like find myself out of breath. So one moment. All right, I'm back. You guys remember I was only gone for like a minute. I just had to do lean back in my chair and like take a breather. You guys remember Fat Joe? Lean back, lean back. So I'm gonna have to try to get in a more comfortable position so I can keep talking and get this monologue out. Um, what did I want to say? I was gathering my thoughts during that little pause. This is an analogy about streaming, and of course, analogies aren't perfect, but recently, my kids, they ended the school year. We actually hosted, or we threw a neighborhood party, and it got me thinking. It really did. That putting throwing a party at like your house, or you're the host or whatever it is, and streaming, it's like kind of like similar because you're trying to put on a good time. And like I said earlier, like when the times are good and everyone's having a good time, I'm the type of person who just doesn't want the party to stop. And like hosting a real party in person, like there's all the prep, right? The pre-party stuff you got to do. Um, you gotta just buy things for the party. You gotta send the emails out or notifications or the announcements, right? I guess you don't ask for a RSVP for a stream, but there's a lot of stuff that goes into a stream that you do. You want to publicize it. I know I haven't publicized it on my own Instagram, which may change, but I didn't want to like post about it. I remember a friend in the hobby was like, "Well, why don't you market your own streams?" And I'm like, well, I joined a stream team so that I didn't have to publicize it because I didn't want my Instagram account to become a feed where I just keep telling people I'm going live on whatnot or live on this or live on that. Because I'll be honest, I see those and I just scroll by. I usually like a lot of posts because I want to show the love and support, but I see the posts and I'm like, like, I'm not into that, or I'm not interested. So I didn't want that to happen, but there is a lot of stuff you have to do. Like you have to put your product up into the store or the shop. You have to figure out what the price points are. You got to do research on the product you want to rip. Uh, and what I think, again, going back to the whole reason for having this podcast, was I wanted to do things and share out my experiences so that we could all better understand each other and the different roles and things we do in the hobby. Because I gotta say, like, I used to be that person who would just get upset at a breaker or streamer and be like, "Oh, this person, the prices are wrong, or they're doing this wrong or that wrong." And I was like, "Well, let me go into their shoes and see how it's like." And I realize it is hard. And I'm not trying to saying we should all sympathize the huge big breakers. I'm not gonna say their names, but there's definitely bro culture and a lot of like, foul language and this and that. I gotta say, when I stream, I'm clean, family friendly, definitely jokey because that's my personality. But I get why they yell. And because there is excitement. And, you see a clip and that's just 30 seconds of a moment where there's hours and hours and hours of pre-planning, a lot of dead time in the stream where product isn't moving. And so when something fun happens, it's almost like being a poker table and you get dealt, pocket rockets, aces, I mean, two aces, pair of aces. You just get really excited. And then when you win a big pot, you get excited. But there's that saying about poker. And of course, in poker, you don't want to show your emotions. But what I'm saying is like, I forget the exact quote about poker, but it's like, you know, it's, it's long hours or long moments of silence and boredom punctuated by moments of terror and excitement, kind of like that. And again, this is completely all stream of consciousness, so I don't have the exact quote. So that's kind of how streaming is too. Oh my gosh, so many analogies: poker, parties, streams. But when it comes to the during the party, you want to make sure everyone's in a good time. You want to make sure the chat's lively, the people having, people are talking and all that. And then, man, the post. That's where I think the analogy really works well. At the end of the party, all the guests have gone home and you're there by yourself or, with your family or friends, whoever's helping clean up, but you're cleaning up and you're cleaning up the mess everyone makes and you're just like totally I don't know, like you're literally cleaning up people's messes, but you're also just kind of getting your house in order. You're getting everything in shape. Um, but I think I don't know if you've done that, but yeah, that's when I kind of reminisce about how fun the time was and how it's worth it. I mean, some people love cleaning, some people it sucks. I mean, I'm kind of like in the middle. Sometimes I love it. Depends on how much fun I had, and I guess maybe again family friendly, but adults drink. How much I had to drink and all that, but you got to clean up, right? So same with streams. And well, by the way, I'm not drinking on my streams, that's for sure. But when it comes to streams, there's a lot of post stream stuff that people don't see. It's all the behind the scenes work. It's the sorting, it's the organizing, it's the making sure things are sleeved and loaded correctly, that cards are going to the exact person that they bought. A lot of these streamers who've gotten in trouble, these breakers, it who knows? It could have been the person on the camera, and certainly we've seen those shenanigans, those shady shenanigans, like I like to say sometimes on Instagram. But there's also the back of the house where there could be errors made by not the person who's actually streaming. Now, a small streamer like me, if I'm working by myself or with one other person, it is on me, right? It's on us. But these big streamers, they employ teams of breakers, teams of sorters and organizers. And the person who pulled your card on camera may very well not be the person who is shipping that card out to you. So again, just empathizing and understanding each other. And I'm not one to be here to try to defend these big breakers and their shady stuff at all. No way. But for me, having done streams and especially my best stream or the most fun stream I had ever with over 300 people on TikTok live shop and having been on drip and having had the dead stream happen and having had decent streams with like 20 people in there and streaming on whatnot where I've had like 20, 25 people in there. It's fun. It can be fun. It can be alluring. It can be glamorizing. But I'm not here to like just say it's all, you know, kittens and rainbows. It's hard work. And uh, my whole thing is to be a master of none, jack of all trades. I think I got it flipped around. But anyway, um, last night was definitely a night to remember. My first time going that long. I mean, I thought I was gonna stream for 3 hours, I went 8. We ripped it was a fresh case of 2022 select football, which a lot of people have been enjoying. I think people know I'm a basketball guy, and especially a 90s basketball guy. I don't even like I mean, I do buy and sell and trade like ultra modern, but that's not where, there's no nostalgia for me there. But I do it because it's fun and it's being part of the hobby. But football, what am I doing with football? Well, we all know we can look up facts and information about products on Cardboard Connection. So you do the research, kind of like I said, pre-planning. Do all the research. You find out about the parallels. Find out what the case hits are, and we ended up in the 8 hours. My stream partner and I, we did a one box pick your team, then a three box pick your team, and then another one box, and then we should not have probably um, not have run the last three boxer, but we did, and it was a lot of fun. And we also had packs going. Um, I said I was gonna keep it evergreen. Well, I can mention the product name, but I'm not gonna get into all the hits and the names and how much we think they're gonna comp for. So that's where you get the evergreen content. I'm not gonna get into all those details because those details, to be honest with you, unless we hit a one of one, I guess. I mean, the cards themselves, like, yes, they matter. That's why we're in the hobby, but they don't matter for my journey. Like in terms of like, this great card or that card. It's their cards and the breaking for me, I think the reason have it under control with buying in breaks is I don't know. It's like I don't even buy into breaks much. That I used to, but my journey has taken me to a place where I am now streaming and breaking for other people. And I say this in my streams, but it is true. It's almost like a honor and a privilege. And I know that sounds wild, but when I am breaking for someone, I feel like fortunate to do that. One, that I get to, but two, that someone put trust in me to put their hard-earned money towards what I'm putting out. And with me, I like to ship fast, I like to ship accurate, really high quality. I think I just like to put on like the way I justified it in my head is if someone's gonna break and spend money on a break, I'd rather them do it with me. I'm not in love with breaking. I'll be honest with you. Breaking can be tough. Trying to make the sales is tough. I think my partner does a much better job of wheeling and dealing. And I know my strengths. I know my weaknesses. I love shipping and packing. It sounds crazy, but it's like it's it's like a chore. It's like grunt work. But that's when I listen to podcasts. I listen to my podcast when I'm doing laundry, when I'm doing dishes, when I'm looking at my collection. Nothing like super. God, I'm like thinking about brain intensive. See, this is my brain. See, this is where I need to take a pause again, so I can gather my thoughts. All right, recentering myself. Still doing this Saturday morning. I only took a minute to just kind of gather my thoughts, get a breath in. Feel like I feel good. Oh my goodness. And I don't have a video component to the monologue episodes, but I gotta say, I probably look so tired, but maybe it shows in my voice too. But I definitely want to spend a great Father's Day weekend, holiday weekend for some of us, maybe not for all of us. And I know some people work Saturday, so they don't even get a 2 day weekend; they get a 1 day weekend, if that, right? So people who spend money on breaks, I mean, it's wild because we all know like low end, mid end, high end cards on Instagram, and everyone floods with like their most expensive cards, and we can all start feeling inadequate. But of course, this monologue episode is not about social media. I'll do that another time. I think I might share some more about my stream life on my social media feed. See if I don't know if it resonates with people or not. But again, it's more for my own journey and documenting it, kind of like this podcast. So, okay, see, I already got off track with having taken a pause. So here's the thing. Here's what I was thinking about during my little 1 minute breather break. The next few weeks for this podcast, man, I feel like I'm coming into my own so quick. Again, jack of all trades, master of none. I love podcasting. I love the interviews. Oh man, the first 3 guests I've had on were awesome, and I don't wanna spoil anything, and there's still some irons on the stove, but I'm telling y'all, there are some guests that, I have secured, but we've had to move things around, who are, I think, gonna be really interesting and exciting. I just don't wanna say their names yet because I don't wanna jinx it. And then I have some long-term goals for guests who, I mean, you guys can just guess, but and some people you will have no idea or no clue or have not even thought about potential guests, but I'm working hard to get guests on, not just to for I mean it is in a way almost selfish. Like I want to learn from them, but I also want to know people's origin stories. I think that's my the way I am differentiating myself is get humanizing the people that I, again, not interview, but like have a chat with. And we just kind of, for some of them, didn't even talk to them before pressing record, or 10 minutes before pressing record. I would just talk to them on in the waiting room or the lobby for the StreamYard. But I gotta say, it's just so much fun, and the time really does fly. That's another thing. Being on the other end of the content consumption and content creation is, I've been a consumer for a long time, and um, I don't know how long it feels, but again, if you're on a run, if you're mowing the lawn, the time can just fly. Recording, the time really does fly, and that's why I put my interviews in 2 parts, because I'm just like, man, this is a lot to take in at one time, but it's so much fun, and I also don't want to edit. I really don't. Maybe I'll get better with it or like that at the end in the future, but not right now. I just want to get these out. I just want to get my reps in, my 10,000 hours, if you will. Actually, again, not a master, jack of all trades, so maybe not at 10,000, but y'all know what I mean. I'm just getting the reps in. So, the path of this podcast, really interesting weekend. We have Father's Day, we have Juneteenth, and I just got done streaming. I can take this. I don't know which one's going to be next, but right now, streaming's on the forefront of my mind. The Father's Day aspect of things, I'm thinking about ways you parent your collection in a way, like kind of like protecting your collection, safeguarding, just um, uh, protecting it in many different ways, right? I mean, I don't want to like tease it too much, but like you can parent your collection, or you can curate your collection, and there are accessories and products out there that people spend money on, like safety, right? It's almost like having a child car seat for your cards. Like people want to take care of their collections, because it's it's like their kids, or it's an extension of themselves, or whatever it is, whatever you want to call it. So then there's streaming, can be a chapter. Maybe this is the chapter monologue on streaming. Then you have parenting, and then Juneteenth. Like, I know everything nowadays is political, and I really like. I don't want to say I don't care, right? So I'll just say it doesn't matter to me what your politics are. I think the hobby is supposed to be above that, and we can all have fun and learn and grow and just share good moments. I know it can be very fracturing, right? Politics, religion, like those are stuff I don't want to get into, and none of those matter. But Juneteenth definitely is it's a new holiday, it's a new federal holiday, and there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot about race that I know as an Asian American that I have thoughts on. I'm wondering whether I want to share them. There have definitely been some pivotal moments recently that have occurred in the hobby that I've stayed on the sidelines for, because I just didn't feel. I mean, one, I don't feel qualified enough to talk about it in general, but also two, it's just I'm trying to get my bearing. I'm like, I don't know what's going on, and I don't want to just jump into situations where I don't know what's going on, especially when people can take it and run with it in social media. But it is important to acknowledge that, I mean, it's just factual. It's June 19th, Juneteenth. Like that's just how it is. And maybe that is why I did stream for so long, knowing that it was going to be a 3-day weekend. So we got streaming, Father's Day, Juneteenth. I'm gonna have to think about content creation, all of these. I have ideas in mind of who I want to interview for, like, say, collecting. I mean, not collecting, protecting and safeguarding and parenting your collection. I have ideas of who I want to bring on to be guests for a fireside chat on breaking, like some maybe prominent breakers, some breakers with interesting stories, people you may have not heard of at all in other podcasts. And so that's the type of stuff I want to bring. It's wild. One of the podcast guests that I want to have on soon, and just a little teaser. I'm not going to say the name, and I don't want to talk about it too much. But this individual has an amazing story where I asked them, like, you have such a great story. I want to learn more about it. And I was like, so have you been on other podcasts? And that person was like, I was interviewed once. Um, a year ago with something that happened in the hobby that was very prominent and a lot of you are going to know about it. And then they said to me, after that happened, no one reached out. And I'm like, okay, well, you want to come on mine and talk about it? And they're like, sure. We just had to reschedule a little bit, but I can't wait for that episode because it's going to, like, I have so many questions. I have so many, um, I just want to learn. I just want to get, like, the inside scoop about how it was to be in that person's shoes because, oh gosh, this interview better happen. That's all I gotta say. So that's gonna be recorded. Um, it's been fun monologuing. It's still kind of weird. It is kind of like streaming. It's like you just talk to yourself in a empty, quiet space, and it's content. And I don't even know how many times I said or how many filler words I put in. Again, just nothing in front of me, not even talking points. I just wanted to get my thoughts out. So, on that note, maybe that is a good time for me to end. I wanted to thank all of you who have been listening so far. Maybe that's how I'll end, is just briefly talk about the analytics in Spotify for podcasters. Um, Refreshing it now. 21 people listened to the last one, part two, Fireside Chat with Nick Sostak, the Million Card Man. 245 plays total. Audience size is 41. 17 are Spotify followers. Um, the most that was listened to was 42. Chapter one, buy trade sell. We're just growing, and you're a part of it. And if you're listening to this, like, as soon as it drops, you are on the ground level, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate you. Some of you reached out with such kind DMs, and this is resonating with some of you. Some of you, it's not, and it's all good. Like I said, my soup's not going to be. It's going to be too hot for some people. It's going to be too cold for others. But for some of you, it's going to be just right. So let's see. Germany still at 1%. That's awesome. We've normalized at 83% geographic location, 17% Canada. Half of your 47% to be precise are from Spotify, 39% from Apple Podcast. Man, I love these stats. Age, we've likely due to Nick Sostak and his 22-year-old self. He must have told some friends because we are now at 2% for ages 23 to 27, which is great. 23% for ages 28 to 34. That's the millennials, right? I guess. And then the Gen Z, the Gen Xers, 35 to 44, 66%, and then 9% being 45 to 59. So it makes sense. Podcasts, this particular podcast done by a 40-year-old, resonating with the 40-year-old crowd. So thank you, all of you, each and every one of you. And I can say thank all of you dudes and men because gender wise, I mean, is the facts are the facts. Unless people are signing in through their spouse's accounts or their parents' accounts or their children's accounts or whatever it is, I don't know. But the gender breakdown right now straight up shows me 99.9% or whatever, because it's female is less than 1%. And I know who that person is because it's my neighbor, and I told her to download it, and I asked her because we were talking about it in the neighborhood, like, "Can you? Oh, do you want to hear me?" She's like, "No." I was like, "All right, well, let me just get into your phone and download it for you." Just kidding. But 99% are male. So again, if you are like basically me, if you're an American, if you live in America and you're a guy and you're between the ages of 35 and 44, that is my main demographic. Just thank you. And a lot of fun things to come with the podcast, I gotta say. And I can't wait to share it all with all of you. And I may just literally hit publish on this. Well, I'll put the intro music, I'll put the outro music, but this is my card diary entry for June 17th, having streamed for 9 hours. I got some shipping to do. Father's Day is tomorrow. Juneteenth is Monday. National is a little bit over a month away. I got some crazy plans for that. Some incredible collaborations and fun things. Just went on Instagram Live earlier this week and with some folks, and we hit over 100 people streaming in. And I was gonna say I love the hobby. And don't worry, I'm finding a lot of good balance with my personal life and my family. Again, end of school year, just so many things have been happening with family life that I love, and that's what fuels me and gives me the I don't know, the energy and passion to do the hobby stuff too. And so I said I was going to end this at like 10 minutes ago, didn't I? Anyway, hope you're all are doing well. Um, if I publish this out today on June 17th, then and some of you listen to it today, happy Father's Day. I will have some Father's Day episodes coming out, um, so everyone be well. I still have got to work on my outro. Follow me on Denny Instagram, Denny underscores cards. All right, I'm gonna stop there. Take care, y'all. All right, so that officially ends this podcast episode. But what I wanted to do, and I've seen no one else do it, and I just do things differently, and it's okay. It's free content. But I had a hard time uploading what you just heard, and I thought I lost it. I downloaded the files, they weren't playing, but then I logged out and logged back in to Podcaster for Spotify or Spotify for podcasters. And so I re-recorded it and I did it by memory and I was like frustrated, but I figured why not let you, if you want to, listen to take two, which will come after this. And if you hear sound in the background, it's because we have now switched from podcast studio to afternoon time laundry doing in the basement. So the dry is going on right now. And so yeah, if you don't want to listen to most like 95% of what was said in up to this point, you can end it here. But if you want to hear what I just said in a different way and just again, just from memory or just trying to recollect what I said and cobble it together, enjoy. And let me know what you think. I have no clue. But again, I'm just adding it for fun. Last thing, no, that's it. There's other things I could say, but it's all good. All right, so we're back, and I will say that there are some good and bad that comes with taking a pause. The good definitely being taking a breather, gathering my thoughts, and then the bad, which doesn't happen on great occurrence, but has happened in the past and definitely happened now, is something won't upload. Upload failed. So I recorded. I will try my best to recreate what I said. None of it's really earth shattering, but I got maybe two main points I want to make. Again, I like to do these monologue episodes with notes in front of me or talking points, but I am just I'm in a happy place right now with the hobby, romanticizing it, the nostalgia. Um, I got to stream, right? So I think pretty sure the last segment, the last few minutes, I talked about that. So two points I wanted to make, and I hope I remember this one well enough. The analogy with doing a stream is like throwing a party. So my kids, not going to show them on Instagram, social media, but I do talk about them because it's also Father's Day, and I'm taking a moment this Saturday morning before we get a start on our family festivities So when we threw a party in our neighborhood. We hosted it in a way. Everyone chipped in and had a good time. And yet there's all that pre-planning, right? You got to like publicize or announce the party. It's kind of like announcing or publicizing the stream. Then you got all the hosting duties during the party, and that's kind of like hosting during the stream, making the chats lively, people are having a good time. You're breaking during the stream. Hopefully, you're not breaking anything during the neighborhood party, also holiday parties, any types of parties. Let's not break cups, plates, hearts, feelings. So then, once you're done with the stream, you once you're done with the party, there's cleanup, and and the stream analogy to that is the post stream sorting, packing, shipping. And I gotta say, I love that part of streaming. I may like it even more than the actual ripping of the wax itself. I don't know what it is, and I may grow very tired of it down the road. But when it comes to sorting, like I'm looking at the stacks I have to sort later today, and I just see them, and even though it's base, even though some of them are hit, some of them are not, doesn't matter what value or condition the cards are when they come out of Panini. I just like looking at it, and just sorting it reminds me of when I was a kid. Again, all of this for nostalgia, all of this for the Hobby S. Thompson aspect or whatever. I love just living that binder life. Like, again, these are all going to customers and buyers, but when you get a ton of, let's be honest, mostly junk wax, and you look to the back of the card and you look at that number and you just look at that same corner, whether it's the top left, top right, horizontal, whatever, top, bottom, right. And then you just keep sorting and you just sort by numerical order, that taxonomy, or I don't know what's it called, but the classification, the categorization. It just fills a bucket. It fills a need. It scratches an itch. I don't know what it is, but I love it. So I think that's why I like sorting and organizing. Cleaning up after party, not the most fun. Especially if it was a really raucous time, and especially for streams, I'm not. Uh, I'm of full clear mind, but of course we've some of us adults, and I think everyone who listens to this is at least over the age of 21, based on my demographic breakdown that I've seen, mostly being between the ages of 35 and 44, is, yeah, I mean, you might be hungover. Let's face it. You have a great time and party, and you're cleaning up, and you're just like trying to not have a headache. You're trying to hydrate, and you're cleaning up, and yet there are times when I catch myself cleaning up after a party. And this was not the neighborhood party because that was definitely a day party, and it was with kids. Different type of atmosphere for sure. But when you're cleaning up, you're cleaning up people's messes. It's You can get your hands dirty, which I don't mind. But when it comes to the time that it's like a chore, like washing the dishes, doing the laundry, mowing the lawn, whatever you're doing right now as you're listening to the podcast, is you do get to kind of like reminisce, and you kind of think, man, that was a fun time. Even it just happened. You're like, man, I'm so glad we did that. So that's like streaming, and it's hard. Not everyone is a host, not everyone is a streamer, but once you get to do it once, or several times, you really get to appreciate how hard it is, right? If you just are the person who goes to parties all the time and never hosts, you can never understand how hard it is to host. Same thing with streaming. I know there's a lot of people, especially the big streamers, who get maligned. I'm not here to defend them, especially if they're into shady shenanigans, which I think I do remember saying in the last time I recorded this. I'm not defending any of that, but I gotta say it's hard. And the person who breaks or who rips the card packs and opens up the cards in front of you on the stream, especially for these big breaker companies where they have sorting teams and shipping teams, they very well may not be the very same person who opened up that pack for you. So when you have these big breakers who get into these troubles, again, some of them definitely can be nefarious and shady. We've all seen them online, or a lot of us may have. I think I'm going to gear this towards the intermediates, not the beginners. Um, but when it comes to those streamers, there are times when mistakes do happen, and uh, you know, even if it's 99.99% accuracy, there's that point oh oh one. Oh my gosh, did I do the numbers right? But one in a thousand, then you're gonna have that one person who's gonna call it out, and they should because you got to get it right. But what I'm saying is, I empathize with sorters, um, organizers, shippers, packers, even streamers, where you have to almost do it to fully understand how hard it is. And I forget if I mentioned this in the first part, but I streamed on Whatnot by myself and it was fun, but I was buying things aftermarket, had almost no margins. I think I did barely break even, but it was nothing earth shattering. And then I took a long pause, and then I realized if I'm breaking, then I'm not buying into breaks, and I don't have that itch anymore to try to like want to open up sealed wax for myself. I like doing it because it's fun and I like cheap breaks. But when it comes to joining the stream team that I did, it's because I didn't want to start from zero. I didn't want to start and like, struggle really hard to try to get a following. I'm under their umbrella. They assume all the risks. They reap all the rewards. Not all the rewards. I mean, I get I get compensated in the form of wax credit, right? It's like I didn't want to get paid. I didn't want to do like any under the table. I didn't want to deal with like the 1099s. I just wanted to be like, look, I'll do it. It's not for free. It's not like volunteering. But what I wanted to do was join a team, learn from other breakers within the team, feel what it's like to be part of a team. It's like if you're an individual streamer or breaker, it's like playing golf. You're just doing it for yourself and you get to call all the shots. But when you do it with a team or a group, then you're almost like playing basketball and you're learning from each other. You're passing ball to each other. You're coordinating. You're organizing, and you just get to have a really teamwork, team experience. So streaming as a team and learning from that was great. Again, last night was so fun. Did not think that I was going to be streaming for 9 hours. And I had a great stream partner, and we just rolled through. I realized what my strengths and weaknesses were even more. It's like when you do things on a lower level, the weaknesses are not as glaring, but once you do it, really intensely for a long period, you can tell what you're good at and what you're not good at. And so I realized I'm not a great salesman. I'd rather do dollar auctions, or I'd rather run low end, and I had a stream partner who was great. I mean, in all the good senses of the word, just a great salesman, not like a snake oil salesman, really above board, knew margins, knew the numbers, were just so much more business oriented. I was just so impressed. I'm like, thank you for doing that. And also loading things up on the shop. That's the same thing, kind of like planning for a party. You have all that pre-party planning, and with a stream, there's that pre-stream planning. You have to load things up into the store, and you have to make sure that you have everything ready to go and organized, and have your penny sleeves, your top loaders, and stands, and everything just ready. So I was really glad to have not hosted the stream party by myself, being part of a stream team. And I may talk about that more in my stream, in my IG feed. But the reason I didn't want to do that is I just feel like, y'all aren't following me to learn about when I'm going live. Like, I'll be honest with you, I like and engage with a lot of posts and a lot of you who are listening if we follow each other on Instagram. But when some folks are like, I'm going live on Whatnot on Tuesday at 9 p.m., I'm like, I don't like those posts. I mean, literally and figuratively. I'm just not, I don't want that in my algorithm. I mean, when people go live, they go live. And I know they want to publicize and they're proud and they want to get their name out there. But for me, I'm just like, I'm not buying into break, so it's all good. And those are probably the least liked and engaged posts I see from other people. Not that I'm following people and seeing how their engagement is, but you can tell, you something comes across your feed and it already has 50 likes. That's great. And then the same amount of time has passed for a different or same account or different account, and they've had it up for the same amount of time, and has like 2 likes. And it's because I don't think a lot of us really, it's like, okay, great. So that's why I didn't want to put that stuff on my social media. Um, Instead of pausing here, I'm just gonna plow through. I feel like I don't need that rest. I'm leaned back like what is it? Fat Joe, remember that? Lean back, lean back. So let me finish strong here. Just another 5 to 10 minutes. Who and knowing me, it'll probably be like another 30 minutes. But what I wanted to talk about was the projection or the next few weeks for the podcast. So very interesting weekend, being a 3-day weekend, Father's Day, Juneteenth. Um, I could go so many different directions, and I have some guests already lined up. Like for Father's Day, I want to do some Father's Day specials with some fathers in the hobby and just their journeys, but also like parenting your collection. Safeguarding it. I don't do this, but like some people who have experience with vaulting and insuring. Um, safe. I do have like these products and accessories that people use to protect their collections and make them look nice. A lot of us think that our collections are an extension of ourselves, kind of like our kids, or whatever. Like all the good and bad that comes with that type of projection, I guess. And then let's see, the streaming aspect, right? What I want to do is talk about my experience with streaming. Maybe this is the monologue episode, maybe this is the chapter episode, but I want to have on streamers and breakers who either they're not going to be the biggest names on the block, but I want y'all to hear from people who have interesting life stories, and I think I found some who do. So I can talk. My plan is to have guests on for chats, again, not interviews, hopefully. Maybe it's just like a misnomer, but I want to have on and have secured some great guests to talk about buying into breaks, being a breaker, parenting your collection. And then I gotta say, I mean, there's so much that's political nowadays, and Juneteenth. I know, in the hobby, to me, and I say this to my kids, I don't like to say I don't care. So instead of I don't care, I will say it doesn't matter to me. That's the way I want to put it. It doesn't matter to me your religion, your politics. The cardboard, I want it to unite us. I mean, there's so many things in the world that can fracture us. And what I want to do is focus on the cards and the different aspects of the hobby and the cards and have fun. And so when it comes to Juneteenth, though, certainly it's a new federal holiday. I am not African American, I'm Asian American, and there's a whole history with being a minority in America, and people can feel very invested and emotional and all that. I've thought about making some comments about it based on some things that have recently surfaced in the hobby. And I intentionally just didn't want to get in there because I didn't know, not that, like, one, I don't want to take sides. I don't think there are sides here. I think the hobby is a circle. It's not a square or a rectangle or the Sharks and the Jets or like the Hatfields McCoys. Oh gosh. To me, it's we're all in this together, because to the people on the outside of the hobby, that's where we're the weirdos. That's where we're the outcasts. But within the hobby, I just feel like we could do more to uplift each other and support each other. So, having said that, there have definitely been things that have been happening in the hobby where important issues and questions have been raised, and I am it's a very interesting time for Juneteenth to be rolling around, and we're also a little bit over a month away from national. And I just got to say, like, I just it's so hard to be a creator. It's hard to be anything in the hobby. Any hat you wear in the hobby, it's hard to do. So I just want us to be supportive of each other, but I know that can be very kumbaya and pie in the sky. But I just got to say, um, it's not taking sides. I'm not taking one side or the other. It's more of like, let's all just continue to have civil discourse, talk to each other, communicate with each other, try to think the best of each other, not make assumptions. Again, very wishful thinking. I get it, but that's the type of person I am right now in my life. I mean, if I was in my 20s, I will very much say I'd have a different thought process and set of emotions around this. Um, in my 30s, same thing. And I'm not saying, oh, I'm so mature or that I've grown so much. It's just like in my current station in life, I come to the hobby as an escape. It's a lot of fun. And, I'll think about what I may want to say in the future, but it's definitely going to have to be more monologue, more talking points and scripted, because I definitely don't want to say anything too off the cuff that may be misconstrued or taken out of context. So having said that, I think that's where I'll end this chapter. It's definitely a monologue. I don't know if it's a chapter episode, but I was compelled internally to make this because I wanted to, in a way, make a diary entry saying to myself and to all of you wonderful listeners, man, 9 hours of streaming, way too late. I'm not a spring chicken, but it was so much fun. And thank you. I mean, thank you for listening to me just ramble about my cardboard journey. I hope to have on people who you will actually learn from, who can share their more expertise and experiences that are just much more uh, a more longitudinal or more, having more experience with it. But for me right now, I feel good. Gotta celebrate the wins, gotta celebrate the good times. There's so much happening in the hobby. It's like every week in the hobby, there's something fun happening. So thank you so much. I gotta think of a better way to outro my episodes. I'll put in the music in the beginning, I'll put in the music at the end. But in the end, for all of you who are at the ground level listening to this, like, thank you so much. You guys are awesome. So have a wonderful, if you listen to this on time, have a wonderful Father's Day weekend. Whether you are a father, a son, grandfather, grandson. Well, yeah, just enjoy the weekend. Aunt, uncles, nephews, all of you. You guys, just nieces. You get it. You get it. I'm just trying to be as inclusive as possible. But take care, y'all.